Welcome back, unfortunately, to the Jungle Fever podcast. Somebody has to react to it, right? I'm Ethan Sargent. Aiden Crowley is alongside me. We're pushing through the good and the bad and the ugly. And this was a whole lot of the last two and not a ton of the first one. The offense was pretty good. Everything else kind of sucked. 47-42, the final score yesterday between the Bengals and the Bears. I guess we can start off with the shining lights, I suppose, and that is the offensive performance yesterday. Because I know we got plenty of stuff coming later. Don't worry. Let's start with the good. Let's put the smile on our faces, and then we'll just wipe them off as this episode rolls along. But let's start with the good. Joe Flacco. I was saying this a second ago. I think he'll always have my respect. He is playing with a grade one AC joint sprain. He just threw for 470 yards at the big 4-0. Just a really phenomenal performance that would have won the game for 31 other NFL teams. Then the Bengals have the best EPA per play in all of football since Joe Flacco started playing quarterback for the Bengals. He's been nothing short of everything you could have asked for when they brought him in.
I'm sick. I'm legitimately sick. I am. I'm sick to my stomach for Joe Flacco, and I also think of Andre Yoshivas. I mean, like it's just unbelievable Flacco's story. It's kind of storybook stuff. What he's come in and done at 40 years old. And earlier this week, I mean, after the game, Zach Taylor and Chase Brown, they both said that throughout the week, Flacco couldn't even raise his arm above his shoulders. That's how bad his injury was. And he's been here for 3 weeks and he wants to gut it out still. And he doesn't just
40.
gut it out. He doesn't. He goes out there, throws 4 touchdowns and nearly 500 yards. It's the most yards in his career. And then you think about Andre Yoshivas and the amount of just kind of trash thrown his way. We were responsible for some of it because he wasn't playing up to his standard and he knows that. And he said he deleted every social media off his phone. He has never received that amount of hate before. And he goes out there and caught what should have been the game-winning touchdown. And that's robbed. And that's robbed of him. That's robbed of Flacco. And that's the special teams played phenomenal. We had a
Yeah.
kick for a touchdown. We had an onside kick recovery. In all of these moments and all of these iconic things were just stripped because of the other side of the ball. And it's unbelievable. But
Mm,
Yoshi Bosch was
we're gonna
great.
get to
Flacco,
that.
I mean, I don't know what more you can say
T.
about a
Higgins, a word
performance
for
like
T. Higgins
that.
too. Phenomenal from
Higgins,
him. Yep.
Jamar felt like he had a quiet six catch, 110-yard day because that's just what he does. It's just unbelievable what this offense is doing right now. It is like they're the best. They're unstoppable.
The thing that I say, right, and obviously you can't script Joe Burrow having a devastating multiple month injury in week two. Nothing's different right now if Burrow's playing quarterback. You
No.
can't get to a better, I'm not, again, and you can have this debate. I'm not even going to entertain it with the Flacco Burrow stuff, like the offensive puts. Burrow is Burrow. People try to talk down on it's ridiculous. You could put Burrow in there. Burrow might throw for 800 yards, and it's not going to matter because this defense, time and time again, we are having the same conversation every single week, Ayden. We're having the same conversation because the Bengals keep losing the same exact ways. Even when they win, it's the same way. Look at the Steelers game. They tried really hard to blow that one too. So it's look, I got receipts today. I got time today, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. But again, I wanted to start with the slight positive because again, you have to give a word to the guys on the offense that are
Incredible.
balling out.
Incredible.
By the way, Amarius Mims is playing the best football of his career. He's been these last 4 or 5 weeks, he's been phenomenal. He's really taken that step up that I expected him to take this year. So huge hats off to Mims. Really, a lot of the guys on that line, with the exception of Orlando Brown Jr. with a stupid penalty there to cost the Bengals points in the first half, and he didn't have a very good game at all. I think the rest of the line has played a lot better recently. They gave up a couple sacks yesterday, but a lot of lines do that. It hasn't been egregious, and they've given Flacco good pockets for the most
Especially when you have
part.
to throw
So
the ball 47 times. I think you'll lose every once in a while.
yeah. So again, a lot of those rookies on the line. I think Fairchild's still continuing to play pretty well. Rivers has, I think, majorly improved over the last couple weeks. Karras is starting to look like his old self as well. So again, not really a lot of bad things to say about this offense. They played pretty dang well. right? Special teams
They're
too.
the best in football over the last 3 weeks. I
Yep.
don't know. Yeah.
Let's start off this conversation with a fun little tangent here. If you put together let's say you took the best players in the NFL and you made an offense with it. You took the Eagles offensive line. You took, Mahomes or Allen or Lamar, and you took, or even Burrow. You put Jamar Chase, and then you put, I don't
Settles.
even know. Yeah, you put an elite receiver next to him. I mean, he already has an elite receiver. Might as well just put Jamar and T out there anyway. You put, I don't know, the best tight end in football. Unfortunately, Tucker Kraft just
Bowers.
got hurt. He was playing
Bowers.
like it. Unbelievable game for him yesterday. You put him out there. Would the Bengals still go 5-12? They might. They would flirt it. Even you want to go like all-time team. Throw Brady then there at quarterback. Throw Jerry Rice out there at receiver. Throw a Sharp at tight end. Is it going to matter? Give the Bengals like their 80s offensive line. Throw Munoz and Willie Anderson back out there. Is it going to matter if they put up 50 points a game? Because this defense is not just, they kind of suck. It's not just, well, they're not the reason the Bengals are winning, but it's okay. No, this defense is not just this bad. It is the floor broken. Historic, not in a good way. Let me read you this. This is good. I saved this. Trust me, I got a few of these for today. We're gonna start off with this. So full NFL history goes all the way back to 1920, right? The Super Bowl era is 1966 up until now. The merger between the AFL and the NFL happened in 1970. The 2025 Bengals, through 9 games, are the 13th worst defense of all time in the National American whatever football. The 13th worst defense of all time in points per game with 33.3 points allowed. They're the only team in the 2000s to even be on the list. Um, then here's the fun one. This one's gonna perk Ayden's ears up. The last 25 years. So let's just get into the modern era now. This is out of 800 plus defenses over the last 25 years. That's 32 teams each of the last 25 seasons. The second worst team in EPA per play. You want to know the only team that has worst defense? The winless 2008 Detroit Lions. Shout out Bryce Tinson. The worst defense in success rate out of 25 years. The worst defense in points per game. The second worst defense in yards per game allowed, which is behind the 2012 New Orleans Saints. The fourth worst defense in yards per play, behind the 2015 New Orleans Saints, the 2012 New Orleans Saints, shout out Drew Brees, and again, that 2018 Lions team, or excuse me, 2008 Lions, and the fourth worst in yards per carry, behind, weirdly enough, two current NFL defenses in 2025 Buffalo and 2025 New York, and the Giants, I should say, and the 2022 Chargers. Just gonna let you react to that.
I can raise you one better. You want
Do it.
yeah, you want defensive adjusted value over average,
Ooh, this should be
DVOA?
good.
Yeah, so since 1978, the Bengals are second worst all time. The closest or the worst was the 1979 San Francisco 49ers. By the way, Cincinnati then owned spots 3 and 4, 1998 and 2019. And this conversation is just so draining. I'll quote Chase Brown. This is my reaction to what you just spewed to me, and it's just going to quote Chase Brown. He said after the game, I mean, what the F? Like that sums it up, Chase. That really does. I don't know.
I don't blame the offensive players
I
for
don't.
being mad at the defense.
This is my thing, right? This is my thing. The defense just needs to have some semblance of pride and
Hmm.
dignity in the work that they do, and they don't. And that's the part that pisses me off the most.
Laughing in the locker room after the game.
Because again, you have a 40-year-old quarterback who joined the team 3 weeks ago, going out there and thugging it out through injury and throwing for nearly 500 yards, putting his body on the line. And you guys don't have enough pride to literally bow up and get one stop. I'm going to keep quoting Chase Brown here because I think what he said after the game probably could have got him elected mayor for
Hmm.
Cincinnati, but it's true. He said, quote, "We just have to play complementary football. We put the ball in the end zone and go up a point at the end, finish the in game. Just end it. That's it. That's what we need to do. Just end the effing game. I in that that's it
Well
is what
said,
it is.
Chase.
It
Well said.
and it comes down to the easy things. It comes down to tackling. It comes down to getting pressure on the quarterback. And yeah, I know you're probably missing Trey in these games. You could make the argument
How
that if
much is he really going to change?
you can make the argument that if Trey is on this football field for these past two games, maybe the Bengals close it out with a clutch sack from Trey. And that doesn't take away from how horrible this defense is.
Even if
But
look, I'll say this, right? Last 2 weeks, the Bengals absolutely could have won both of those games, right? And we'd still be having the same conversation.
right.
Would,
No, I
we
totally
could
agree.
potentially be saying, oh, well, this offense has been so good, they've been carrying. But the cracks would still be there. Now the
Yeah.
cracks have just fissured
Yeah.
open, right? Here's a good
Yeah.
one. Saw this from Next Gen Stats over on X. The Bengals defense missed 15 tackles yesterday for 133 additional yards. They got 35 of those on the Colston Loveland touchdown there at the end of the game. Coming into Sunday's game, they had missed 94 tackles for a 645 yards. So I'm not too good at math, but when you add those two numbers together, you're already over 100 missed tackles on the season in 9 games, and you're over 750 yards allowed because of your missed tackles. Remember on what was it, Monday or Tuesday, where it came out that they were doing like little kid tackling drills? They even bother. Like my big thing right now with this team and with this defense specifically, and you mentioned this a second ago, and I want to bring it back up. There's no pride. There's no accountability. There's no leaders, right? The leaders on this team are either hurt or have requested trades. There's no care. It doesn't seem like they care. They're laughing out of the locker room like it was just another game. See you Monday. Well, it's Monday. Effing stand up and take some accountability, man. Like
So the conversation after the Jets game, right? At least in my brain,
it was a players
was
only meeting. What were they doing?
I don't care about that. My conversation after the Jets game was that's rock bottom. It can't get worse than losing to the Jets in that fashion. It got worse. It got worse. I don't
Get
know how it
worse.
got worse. In the most Bengals way possible, a loss in that fashion, up 15 in the fourth quarter to the freaking winless New York Jets. It got worse the next week. And then the conversation all offseason with this Bengals defense was, well, we brought a lot of the same guys back, but they can't play worse than what they did last year. They are. And it's getting worse throughout the season. The conversation around playing guys like Shamar, guys like Barrett Carter, guys like Demetrius Knight, when they aren't ready to be on the field, the conversation was we're taking our lumps now. They're going to make mistakes early so that later on in the year, they're going to improve and we're going to be better. It's getting substantially worse. And
Yeah.
that is the most concerning part because no one's going to walk through the door and save this team, this defense. No one. These are the
They could
guys.
have the first overall pick and they could take, a Reuben Bain out of Miami or a Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. And they're great football. Both of those guys are going to be great NFL players. They can't fix the rot, right?
No,
That is one player out of 11. And we're going to get to the root of the problem here. And again, both you and I have said this multiple times. It's not rocket science to figure out who the problem is. Yes, Zach Taylor is a dead man walking. He is
I
not the
don't think
root cause of the issue. He's
I
not the root
don't think
cause of the
Zach
issue.
Taylor should be because he is an offensive mind. He's the play caller. Look at what this offense is doing. Do the
They got to
Bengals?
take some notes from this offense and put it in when Burrow's playing, by the way.
They should. No,
Absolutely.
they absolutely should. So this is my. So let's walk down this conversation, right? You
You know where
fire
we're going.
Zach. Fire Zach Taylor midseason. Who are you turning to? Who's going to be the guy that's all of a sudden going to come in and save this locker room?
Locker room is dead, in my
I
opinion.
don't.
I
I
think
don't
there's no.
think
I don't think
anyone
there's any
does.
saving it.
Now, I think the conversation's different with a guy like Al Golden because at the very bare minimum, I know Al Golden does not have the resources and the players to get a competent, is probably the word I would use, defense on the field. Just ask Lou Anarumo. But at the bare minimum, I need my defensive coordinator to get the guys on the field, A, in the right spots. Demetrius and I lining up on edge multiple times the past couple weeks is just obscene. And secondly, I need them to play hard and act like they care, and they're just not. They're just not. And so that's for me why the conversation is different between a guy like Zach Taylor and a guy like Al Golden. The fact that Al Golden, it is Monday, what? It's Monday at 1 o'clock Eastern when we're recording this right now. The fact that he is still employed after these past couple weeks is insane to me, but nothing will change because it's the Cincinnati Bengals and this is how they operate. They have a chance to break a mark that or tie a mark that they hold. There's been one franchise, one team in NFL history that's given up 3 straight weeks of 500 yards of total offense. It's now been back-to-back weeks, but from the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears, where they've gone over 500 yards, they could do that in their next time out against the Steelers, and they would tie which team, Ethan?
The Bengals, probably, if I had to guess.
2019 Cincinnati
Oh,
Bengals.
yeah, that team was really bad.
Yeah, and guess what? That defensive coordinator got canned mid-season after those
Terrell
three.
Austin was so bad. And guess where he is
Yep.
now? Pittsburgh.
So it's just that's for me the conversation, the Zach Taylor conversation, and I understand he probably is a dead man walking, and
I don't
it's an
think it's his
injustice I think
fault.
to
I'm right
him.
with you.
I think it's an injustice to him, and just the front office has completely failed this organization.
I would not be surprised if Zach goes to, let's say he goes back to LA, right? His old stomping ground where he was the passing game coordinator for the Rams, where the year they went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff at quarterback. And Jared Goff played, before pre-Lions, some of his best football with Zach Taylor as his passing game coordinator. Um, I would not be surprised if he goes there and, the Rams are already pretty good. And he helps that offense continue to be fantastic. Again, I don't think Zach Taylor would be without a job for a long time.
No,
It's the long story short. Um, Now, Dan Pitcher is a guy I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's done a great job this season, working through the injury. I think he deserves some credit as well. But here's where we're going to go. You know where the next part of this conversation is going. The Boys and Girls Club, I'm speaking directly to the front office now. The Boys and Girls Club at the top of that front office needs to man up, needs to figure it out. They need to fire Duke Tobin. It won't happen, but they need to fire Duke Tobin, and they need to realize that they need to run this franchise like one that's not in 1968 anymore. Like we need to, how about hiring a couple? The Bengals have four scouts, four. The list of NFL teams, the Ohio State Penn State game on Sunday or Saturday, which was obviously a game with boatloads of NFL talent on both sides of the ball, but for both teams. And guess which team happens to be an hour and a half from Columbus that didn't have scouts at the game? The Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns had two of them, not a far drive from Berea down to Columbus. It's not a far drive from Cincinnati to Columbus either, but clearly that's too much for this front office to deal with. So they just didn't send scouts to one of, again, so many great players in that game that the Bengals would love to scout, and I'm sure they'd love to have, but no, we're smarter than that. We don't need scouts at that game. We'll just continue to draft players based on RAS scores, and we'll just continue to draft athletes who will develop, and then we'll trust our guys to develop them into the worst players in football. Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter are the two lowest graded linebackers in the last 25 years. They're bottom one and bottom two. I'm being serious.
it
Like I,
that's the thing, right? That is the thing because
you don't
it's
laugh, you'll put a hole in the monitor. Like it's
you do just have to like this is where they are. You think about it, and Trey's Trey, and then DJ's having I think an all pro season. He's been absolutely phenomenal. By the way, the Bears 47 points, 500 something total yards of offense. Rome Odunze, 0 catches. Guess who was shadowing
the
Rome?
only bright light. I'm glad
DJ.
you brought him up. The
Literally
only bright light.
the only guy who cares. And
He should be a Pro Bowler, by the way. He
he
won't be
should.
because he'll
He's
get
play,
overshadowed by how bad the rest of the defense is. But
he's
DJ Turner's
legitimate.
playing some of the best football in the NFL right
He's playing at an all pro caliber. And it the situation just feels so helpless. Like people talk like I don't care that Pittsburgh's 5-3. I don't care what Baltimore's record
now.
is
Pittsburgh,
because
by the way, just went out and beat one of the best teams in the NFL yesterday, right? And
Because
I know the Colts turned the ball over 6 times,
nothing
but
substantial is going to change. Nothing. It's so like these are the guys. This is the situation you're in because this is how you drafted. This is how you want to construct things, and this is what you
and
get.
what do you think the star players on this team think, especially on offense? What do you think number 9 thinks on the sideline right now
Well,
as he
Jay Moore.
watches? Again, he probably, I'm sure him and Joe Flacco have had a ton of great conversations about, what to do and how to work things. And again, I think Joe can absolutely, Burrow that is, can absolutely benefit from actually having a guy like Flacco in the building to, again, take lessons from a guy who won a Super Bowl, who has been in huge moments for so many years and it's clearly, as we have talked about, still has it, right? And what do you think Joe Burrow was thinking as he walked off that field on yesterday? He's thinking, damn, like if that was me, would have been the same result, right? You
Jay
think
Morrison
about
reported that Burrow didn't even like stay for any of the post game stuff. As soon as the game ended, Joe left.
why would he? I don't blame him. When
Mm.
he wins a Super Bowl in San Francisco in 5 years, it'll make a lot of sense, right? Because that's a damn good quarterback. Everybody knows it, right? But when this front office continually fails, right? They fail and they fail and they fail, and there's no blame. That's the word of the day. The word of the day is accountability because that word does not exist in the front office or really anywhere on the Bengals at the moment, right? Because you have a front office that just continues, and this is the worst part about it. They think that they're smarter than everybody else. They think that they're doing things this crazy way, and they think that they are just galaxy braining everybody in the NFL. Spoiler alert, you're not. You're actually the other way. They're way smarter than you,
No.
right? You
And
still do things like it's 1972 and you operate like the Baltimore Colts would have operated back in the day. And you think that you, again, are just so much smarter than everybody else. You only need 4 scouts when most teams have double digit scouts. What?
no,
Stupid
and
game anyway.
so I think that's something that maybe more of a positive thing that could get lost in the shuffle is there's a lot of conversation about like Jamar and what he's done. And I think he has had such an underrated season as a leader of this team. He became a captain for the first time this year, and I think that's come with some actual pride that he's taking. He was asked after the game what is going through his mind, which I get is a question you probably have to ask. I don't like the way that the question was worded, but he literally he takes a deep breath and just says, "Stay calm." Next question. And then later on, he's asked, like, "Are you going to try and step in to find some leadership on the defense?" He said, "I'm staying in my own lane." He said it in Jamar's way of saying it, but he is actively trying to hold things together. But he feels like one of the only guys trying to do that right now. And again, just going back to the other conversation, like it just doesn't, I don't think it gets better. Jordan Battle, I mean, I get him so far away from my football team. I don't get it. Like
Stone's too busy drinking at Holy Grail in the offseason to really care about football. So,
it's like that last play of the game. I maybe I still have the photo, but like
oh, yeah, pull it up. Show.
we're just throwing shoulder tackles. We're that's what we're doing. The game is on the line. And I get it. Colson
Santos
Russell
had missed the
probably
field goal, two
Col-
field goals already.
Colson probably catches that. They spike it. They kick the game-winning field goal. That's probably what
The
happened.
Bengals have
But you
blocked the
still have
field
to make
goal.
him kick it. You still have to make him kick it. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try and find it. But in conclusion, it's just like I'm so over it because it's like I don't think this gets any better. Like this is just where the team is.
Remember when, what was it, a couple years ago, I think around when the Bengals were on that huge win streak in the back half of 2022. And guess what? Joe Burrow was playing at an MVP level that year, but the defense was also playing at a very high level. It's why they did so well that season is because they had not only a great offense, but they had a great defense. I think that 2022 Bengals team was, in my opinion, better than the Super Bowl team and probably the best Bengals team I've seen in my lifetime, right? Maybe 2015 can have a word with that. I don't know. Somewhere in the middle, right? And guess what? The reason why the Bengals went to the Super Bowl in 2021 is because the defense continually made key plays in the postseason, right? The interception of Derek Carr, the interception of Ryan Tannehill to set up the Bengals for the game winner. The goal, people always forget about, I mean, they talk about the pick in overtime, but the Chiefs had first and goal at the 5. And the Bengals managed to make them kick like a 40-yard field goal because they got almost a strip sack. And then in the Super Bowl, they had a shot to do the same thing, bad call, whatever, right? The reason they haven't got even close to coming back there since 2022 is because they let talent walk, right? Jesse Bates walks, like, a couple years later, DJ Reader walks. They let guys go. They think, again, that they are smarter than everybody else by continuing to draft their way, right? And we thought, like, again, when we were doing our draft talk all the way back in April, we started this podcast up, what, in like March-ish, February, late February, early March. And we rolled right through up until the draft. And we said, look, when the Shamar Stewart pick happened, by the way, another guy who had just an awful game. Shamar Stewart's pick, we were like, okay,
For the
I
record,
don't
I hated
love
it.
it, but this is a guy that had 4.5 sacks in college. Is the profile there for what could be a great football player? Sure, right? Is there college production? No. This is, and again, it's not even the first. We talked about this last week, so I'm not going to bang the drum too hard, but it's not even the first time they did it. They did it 2 years ago. Miles Murphy is a goddamn ghost out there. You could put either of us, we both weigh about 160 pounds and we're 6'5", 11, and we would look like more competent NFL players than Miles Murphy does. This guy rolls out there every week and gets sat down.
Bullied.
I stopped myself.
Bullied. Yeah, he
He
gets
gets
bullied.
bullied
And,
every week.
and this isn't
And
supposed to
Darnell Wright
be.
had the block of the year on Shamar Stewart yesterday. I mean, just shoveled him into the ground on a fourth down. Like, again, pride. Remember that? Pride, accountability. Like, anybody want to step up and man up and say, okay, besides DJ Turner, I'll exclude him from this. Anybody want to step up and say, hey, I'm going to make a play? Anyone? Like,
No one in the locker room steps up and says, this is unacceptable. This is not right. You wasted a MVP season from Joe Burrow. You wasted a Triple Crown season from Jamar Chase. You wasted an Offensive Player of the Year season from Jamar Chase last season. And in response to that, you've gotten worse. By the way, this was the touchdown from Colson.
look at that.
I don't know if you can see that pretty well.
Yeah.
He scored on this play. That was a touchdown. That was the game.
Again, just battle, just woo.
Yeah, and so
it's
and
like the
this
steam meme.
this isn't supposed to be like me taking a victory lap, but I'll take a small victory lap. We pounded the table for Jahad Campbell.
Yeah,
He
we did.
was instant impact guy. He's probably one of the best defensive rookies. Shocker, Howie got it right. And guess what? Howie traded for an edge rusher today because he wants his team to get
Jalen
better.
Phillips. I love that
Yeah.
deal.
So now the conversation comes with what's next for the Cincinnati Bengals team. The deadline is in 28 hours. Trey is 1 year left in his deal. Reportedly, the Bengals are still seeking a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. This, again, is just the most mind-numbing thing of all time. If you're Trey, I understand why you want out. I completely do. And Trey has a right to play for a contender. I get it. And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, well, if you were a smart front office, let me rephrase, I would understand in this situation wanting to move off Trey Hendrickson, given the fact that they probably aren't reaching a long-term agreement in the offseason based off of how last offseason went. However, in Bengals true fashion, according to Diana Rossini, the Bengals are still seeking a first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson. So let me get this straight. Just let me walk through this for a second. So the Bengals don't value Trey enough as a player to sign him to a 3-year contract extension this offseason for the value that he was requesting, right? Then this offseason, the Bengals thought that anything less than a first round pick wasn't enough. So they value Trey enough to think he's worthy of a first round talent, but they won't pay him, okay? So they do that stupid extension that they do, whatever. Okay. Then they see the product on the field over these past 9 weeks. They see what this defense is. Like Ethan and I mentioned earlier in the show, statistically, one of the worst defenses of all time, period, full stop. And instead of trying to maximize value, maybe get as many darts as you can throw, because apparently that's what we need in the draft. We need 1,000,000 darts, because hopefully we can close our eyes and one of them lands on a Burrow or a
The only
Chase.
draft picks they nail are the ones that fall right into their lap.
Exactly. So just close your eyes and throw darts. Instead of getting that, they're just going to hold on to Trey for what? So they can franchise tag him this offseason? Because that's what they're going to do. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like I don't think that they're realistic about where they're at in the present right now. I just don't they think they're in a different reality than what's here right now.
But the window's always open, right?
I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. I don't get it at all. Trey won't be
So
dealt. He won't be dealt.
the the biggest problem with this team right now is the fact that, like I said earlier, they have this boys and girls club in the front office that, again, they think they're smarter than everybody else. They draft off of traits, not off of production. It's the most infuriating thing in the world to me. You have a guy in Jahad Campbell who stuffed the stat sheet at Alabama. Right. And like there were multiple players that would have been better than whatever the hell you're getting out of Shamar Stewart, but whatever. Stuff in the stat sheet at Bama, great player, right? So the Bengals go and they see it's like a little kid when they see the candy or like a vending machine light up. And they see the green RAS dots on Shamar Stewart's athletic score, and they go, "Ooh, I want a piece of candy." Like, no, college production typically equals NFL production. So what do the Bengals do? They make the same freaking mistake they made 2 years ago and take a guy who didn't produce in college. It's like banging, this is a good one. What's the definition of insanity? It's doing something over and over again and expecting different results. And here we are. We are insane. This front office is insane in the worst way possible. And the worst part about it, this is the single worst part about it, is that truly, and Ayden said this a second ago, truly, I don't expect anything to change. And that is the worst part about it because 99%, Miami just fired Chris Greer. You know how long he had been Miami's GM? Like decades. He was with Bill Belichick in the first year of his tenure in New England. And he went to Miami and he'd been he actually was their GM. He'd been their GM for over 25 years. And finally, the results caught up to him and he was let go. Well, that happened for Duke Tobin. Just don't see it. And I wish I could say, oh, yeah, they'll fire Duke Tobin because any logical NFL team would see what's happened over the last 2 or 3 seasons and realize that Duke Tobin probably needs to go. But no, he'll stick around. You could get your T. Higgins quotes off, right? And
And
there's
the
no,
people,
again, the word of the day is accountability because there's none of it. None
yep.
of it. And
And
the
the
worst part is you have a fan base that we're not the only people having this conversation. I can promise you that. And they know you, like if you hop onto any podcast today, any one of the big Bengals talking heads, or if you're listening to us, you know that nothing is going to change. Absolutely nothing is going to change.
and the people who
Yeah,
suffer the
they
most,
probably
the
go
people
ahead.
who suffer the most are the fans. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and
And
these
when
guys
those guys
alongside
win
them.
Super Bowls at other or win big games, win Super Bowls, win MVPs, they're going to lose. Bengals fans are going to leave with them. I promise you that. They're going to leave. If Burrow leaves or gets traded, there are going to be Cincinnati Bengals fans that leave with them. There are going to be people that don't buy tickets because that's all they care about is money. That won't buy tickets. Ticket prices will go down again, or actually no, they'll stay the same because again, all they care about is money. The ticket prices will stay where they're at. Nobody will buy tickets. Like the Paycor was packed yesterday for a 3-5 football team. Paycor was stuffed to the gills. This is such a great, like again, nothing but good things to say about the Bengals fan base and how much they care. And nobody in that front office better dare question how much this fan base cares about this team. Because again, no Joe Burrow. This fan base shows up 60,000 plus every week. Really, ever since the Joe Burrow era, this fan base has really shown up in person, right? And again, week in, week out, they're let down by a front office that doesn't care and players that don't care. And that's the unfortunate reality of it. And I don't like I all offseason I was trying to be positive. Right. I thought there would be
I
some
was trying to
positive.
talk you down off that ledge, Ethan. I was trying to get
You
you
did, you did.
to
I'll
come
give you
back to
credit.
reality.
But this is what you get, and this is the final thing I'll say. You have a fan base now. Like again, like I just said, there's thousands of Bengals fans out there that are having the same exact conversation that Ayden and I are having right now. And every single remember the whole I mean, look, it was probably a bit of a phony story, but the season ticket story deal that came out earlier last week about who's gonna help pay for Jamar T. Yeah, was that probably kind of bogus? Probably. But at the end of the day, that's all they care about. And the fan base doesn't deserve that. They don't, because this fan base cares so much, and they're being tortured. They're being tortured by this team, and it's
Hey,
not.
you want a silver lining?
Sure, I guess.
They don't play on Sunday. We're off.
Yeah.
We don't have to watch them.
Bye week wins 42-38 in a thriller.
It's the Alabama, or not the Alabama, the Texas A&M LSU game, 74-72 in 5 overtimes, and we've
Huh.
lost the bye week.
That's every Bengals game.
Oh man. Yep. On a bye, and then the Steelers, right?
Yeah, who just beat the Colts.
It's just
And they cannot win at Acrisure Stadium. So I
we did last year
that's right.
because Trey
That's right.
closed it out, but
Yeah.
will Trey be
Will
able to
he even
see?
be on the team in 24 hours?
I think if you were
I,
smart, he wouldn't, but
I'll say that too. I will say I do think they end up trading him, but it's not going to be for the value they want. It's not going to be. They're not going to get a first
they're
rounder. The
not gonna.
best they'll get, I think, is a second or a third, and maybe a player.
And we'll take that
Like,
second round pick and we'll draft another like Jackson Carmen or something out of.
yeah, yeah,
All right. This was fun.
yeah. It was fun. I think that this team is just so pathetic, and the fact again that there are people, nothing has changed in the last 24 hours after what you've seen, what you've seen in the last 2 weeks is just comical. It's par for the course. So yeah, fun episode this week. I hope you all
We'll keep
enjoyed.
watching.
Yep. Yep. We're gonna get this one up pretty soon. I know we got some people itching to watch, so we're gonna throw this one up here. And I don't even know if we'll do a show next week, honestly. Maybe we'll do one if there's any notable trades. Maybe we'll just take the week off. I don't know. Bengals defense takes every week off, so it doesn't really matter.
See you Monday.
Yeah, we'll be back, I suppose, to cover this team. But that'll do it for this edition of the Jungle Fever Pod. For Ayden Crowley, I've been Ethan Sargent saying so long, and the Bengals are going to lose the bye week. Have a good one, guys.